So, smart data, purposeful data, using the right data is super important. Garbage in, garbage out. So while there is a lot of different ways that you can access data through DSPs and various other kind of data services, the truth is that not all data is the same. And being able to access the data that's inherent in the data management platform, and then enhancing that data with Comscore clickstream data, with Spotify data for music, if you're in automotive, perhaps Polk data. In retail, we use Kantar and Catalina data. Those kinds of data sources, bringing them in to our data environment, and then, again, creating these insightful audiences, and then having our data scientists overlay using both probabilistic and deterministic data, important insights, things like in-market timing insights or product preference insights. You can imagine, as I'm kind of even describing these things, how all of them come together to give you a really kind of textured and dimensional audience for whom it then makes sense to offer dynamic, personalized creative, right? Because if you're just talking about plain old DCO, which a lot of people now, programmatic creative is really just a euphemism for just basic dynamic creative optimization, or DCO. And with DCO, of course, you can use IP addresses to figure out where people are, and you can say something to them like, oh, in the hot places, we'll offer them cold coffee, and in the cold places, we'll offer them hot coffee. Look at us doing programmatic creative. Yeah, but the truth is I hate cold coffee, and I never drink cold coffee, regardless of the weather. And you should probably know that about me if you're selling coffee, or it certainly would behoove you to know that about me, and then create a dynamic creative strategy. Once you've done that, and you have all of this kind of groovy creative at your avails, or I should say data at your avails, now you can start thinking about creative differently. You can start thinking about creative no longer as just kind of an ad, right? But you can start thinking about it kind of deconstructed into various assets. And that's how we think about it within our programmatic creative. We think about each one of these elements as assets, whether it's the call to action, or whether it's the messaging, or the visual imagery itself, even the branding elements. All of those things are tools that we can really kind of tiles within a mosaic that we can wrap with metadata, put into a digital asset management system, create decisioning that's associated with our targeting, but that is completely directed toward the creative, and then be very flexible around how it is that we build this creative so that we can personalize it. It's pretty interesting. We found that about 70% of all creative out there, I should say all the advertising out there, digital advertising, display advertising specifically, never gets to full optimization because it runs out of creative, right? It just burns through the creative before we can get to optimization. Well, when you take this kind of flexible approach, you can already imagine that given all of the combinations that are available to you, you can really rigorously combine lots of different creative pairs. And of course, having the DMP at your disposal allows you to do that very purposefully associated with your targeting audiences, so as to not only create personalization that matters, but then create lift on the back end. There was a question earlier about kind of worrying about viewability and things like that, and how people just want the clicks. Well, if you have a DMP and you're doing this kind of creative, you can get beyond clicks and actually associate identified and profitable behaviors through other kinds of tools, and then feed that back so that you can still have great optimization. But if viewability is poor, you're not going to get conversion and return on marketing investment or return on advertising spend. These kinds of tools help you do those kinds of things.